touch away. Monday to Friday at 12:30 p.m. only on Bloomberg Quint.
Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Ask PQ on Bloomberg Quint Live. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
And I'm Alex Matthew. Let's jump straight into it. Send us all your queries on equity on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022-4540-4141 or you can mail us at askpq on bloombergquint.com. Just make sure to add the AskPQ hashtag.
Okay, before we get to the individual queries here on the show, first let's take a look at the markets, and looks like it's going to be a good closing to the week as well, because you've got both Nifty, Sensex touching fresh highs in today's trade. Nifty is now almost at day's high, I believe, up almost 84 points in trade, surpassed the mark of 11,250. Sensex also sitting with gains of nearly 300 points. Let's just first pull up the Nifty contributors and check which are the stocks which are contributing to the 80 points gain, and goes without saying, ITC right there on top, reacting very positively to the numbers. Remember, the cigarette volume growth surprised the street of 2% volume growth in the first quarter. Reliance, the biggie, which posts its earnings today, is doing well, and ICICI Bank will also be coming out with its numbers today. Ahead of that, the stocks have been trading in the positive territory. What's capping the moves on the upside are the stocks like TCS, HUL, as well as M&M. But remember, the losses that you are seeing are actually capped to like 1.5 to 2%, at least for the Nifty constituents as of now. Looking at the broader markets, they too have picked momentum this week, and today as well on this Friday, broader markets are sitting with gains of 1%. Let's just pull up the advanced decline ratio. Gives you a better picture of the market breadth of the entire listed universe on National Stock Exchange. So almost 2:1, looking good for market breadth as well. All the sectoral indices today have been trading in the positive territory. Let me tell you which are the top sectoral gainers. Then it is the Nifty FMCG index, owing to the gains that one saw for ITC. Nifty Metals index owing to the gains seen in Hindalco, and PSU banking index, which was up and about in yesterday's session, has seen further momentum coming by in today's trade. We've already addressed a couple of earnings reaction, but still let's pull up stocks like Biocon, Dr. Reddy's, ITC. All of them have been reacting to the numbers, and Dr. Reddy's is down almost 2% after it posted its earnings yesterday. Ahead of the big earnings, we've addressed Reliance, ICICI, but also do watch out for HCL Technologies. Remember, all the earnings come out post market hours today, so actual reaction could actually be seen on Monday's session. On the losing side, very few stocks. Balkrishna Industries, MCX and Quest Corp, which came out with the numbers, all these stocks are seeing losses of 2%. I think the major takeaway, Alex, would be, though there are stocks which are trading in the negative territory, but the losses today are capped like maximum 5-6%. We've not seen any drastic fall coming in any of the stock.
All right, Indian markets, just like the Asian ones, seem to be heading for a good week. But without further ado, let's get our two experts in for the day. Sharmila Joshi, who is an independent investment advisor, and Aditya Agarwala of Yes Securities are here in the studio to answer all of your questions today. I'm going to start, in fact, with a short-term query that is coming in for RBL Bank. Let me just see if I can get it. I believe we've got Abhinav Jaiswal, who's bought 500 shares of RBL Bank at 515 for the short term. He's currently sitting on healthy gains. The stock is currently trading at 571. He's asking if you should book profits at this stage.
So this has been one of my favorite picks. Every time I talk of a bank, RBL Bank has to be on my list. So I would advise continue to hold RBL Bank. Alternatively, can look to book partial profits and buy Bandhan Bank. That is also looking very attractive on the charts. So these are the two banks I'm banking on. RBL Bank definitely remains my top pick, and followed by Bandhan Bank. So book partial profits in RBL Bank and buy Bandhan Bank.
Any levels that he has to look for?
So 600 is my first target on RBL Bank. Post that, I'm looking at a target of 635.
Okay.
Invariably, whenever Aditya has been in the show, he's been giving a buy call on RBL Bank. Let's stay on with banks for a while. Naveen Agarwal on YouTube. Sorry, I'm going to take Saurabh's query first. He's asking which one to choose among Kotak Mahindra Bank and Yes Bank for long-term investment. Sharmila, Yes Bank came out with the numbers, and the stock price reaction was a bit negative. But if somebody wants to take a fresh bet from a longer-term perspective, which one would you choose?
I would think yes, because I think on a valuation perspective, that definitely has the advantage of Kotak Bank, because I think, you know, the price to book valuation seems to suggest that Yes Bank looks the cheaper of the two, with a better probably growth playing out for it going ahead. So I would pick a Yes Bank. But I would tend to agree with Aditya even on RBL Bank. I think given the fact that their numbers were so strong, both RBL as well as Bandhan Bank, and they're like the new kids on the block. Perhaps rather than choose between these two, you could do well to probably invest in an RBL or a Bandhan.
All right, we've got another short-term query on YouTube from Ayush Jain, who's bought 1,000 shares of Havells at a price of 560. He's also making a decent amount of profit here. The stock is currently at around 621, up about 1% in trade. What should his strategy be here?
Continue to hold. It's a strong stock. Stock continues to make higher highs, higher lows, and volumes have been very healthy. So this week, stock is up about 11% on very good volumes. This tells you that it's headed higher. I'm looking at a target of 660 on the upside. Definitely hold on to this stock.
Okay, hold on. Havells came out with its numbers few days back, and the stock has been reacting positively to the numbers. Okay, I mentioned Naveen Agarwal's name, so I'll take his query now. He's asking what to do with National Fertilizers as he's holding around the levels of 70. He's asking what should be the exit target here. He's also a long-term investor, and he writes to us from Bangalore. Sharmila, National Fertilizer, he's bought at higher levels. The stock's now corrected to levels of 44. If somebody's a long-term investor, what would you advise?
I would think that continue to hold, given the fact that perhaps this would be the best quarter for most of these fertilizer stocks. Only from that perspective, and the fact that the stock is from a valuation perspective looking okay. So I would think just from that perspective, continue to hold the stock.
Abhishek Rai on YouTube is asking about Mahindra CIE. He's bought 500 shares at a price of 235 for the short term. He's asking if he should hold or book profits. Wow, we've got 3 queries on the short term, all of whom are making some profits. What should he do?
Hold on to it. It's a very strong stock on the charts. So I've been recommending the stock to my clients as well, and on a couple of shows. I'm looking at a target of 300 and higher here. Though he's making decent money, I would advise him to hold on to it. Keep a stop at 240. That would be a good trailing stop loss for a target of 300 and higher.
Okay, that's Mahindra CIE, 5% higher in today's session. Let me take the next query from Facebook. Arabindo Panda writes to us. Let's just pull up the stock price of UPL. He's holding 120 shares of UPL, and his time horizon is the next 1 to 2 months. And he's holding around the level of 600. So sitting on some profit, Aditya. 640 is the current level in the money, time horizon of 1 to 2 months. What would you advise?
I would advise hold on to the stock. Couple of trading sessions ahead, stocks saw good sharp surge in prices. Volumes were very good. I would continue to hold on to the stock. Keep a stop at 620 because he's bought the stock at 600, so that will still be in the money. Keep a stop at 620, looking at a target of 660 and then 690.
Actually, it's bounced back also after the correction.
Yes, it's bounced back sharply after the correction.
All right, can we pull up the IT index in the month to date if we can get a performance? We've got Jesh Tulsiani who's asking on Facebook. He wants to invest about $1 lakh in an IT stock or IT stocks with a 1-year perspective. There we have it. It's up about 3.2% over the last month, the index. Entering at this stage for about a year, what stock or stocks would you recommend?
So this is an interesting question, because I think if you look at it from a valuation perspective, on the one hand you have the large cap IT stocks, and then you have the mid cap IT stocks, which have really seen a fantastic run over this last year. And in fact, I think now some of them are trading at valuations which are equal to or more than what the frontline stocks are trading at. So I think it straight away suggests to me that perhaps if you don't have anything in the frontline stocks, it really might make more sense to enter into a Infosys at this price or a TCS. I think HCL Tech numbers are expected later today, so take a look at those numbers and you can think of that stock. Rather than, I think, invest in a mid-cap IT. Within the mid-cap IT, but I must say that I still like names where the business is very niche. So you're sort of talking of a growth coming from a business vertical that's doing well, and you have a concentration on that. For instance, Tata Elxsi, I think in spite of the fact that the stocks run up, etc., I continue to like the stock.
Okay.
So I leave it to the investor, but I think that it might be safer to be in a front line than in a mid cap.
Okay.
Sharmila, if my memory serves me right, last time I gave you an option to choose one auto stock, and you chose Tata Motors DVR, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a query there from Ankit Mishra. He's sitting on very heavy quarterly losses here of 18 lakhs. He's bought 20 shares of the DVR at an average rate of 231. He's a long-term investor. He's asking, what should I do considering my loss right now stands at 18 lakhs? Time to average, bought at 231, current price 150. What should he do? Or diversify in the same space?
I think diversify, because I think that I'm per se not very much in favor of averaging. But yes, I think in terms of price, the stock has corrected quite a bit from the price that he bought at, so he can think of averaging. And now what we're really seeing is that even some of the, I think that the numbers continue to stay good. But I think because Tata Motors has this kind of a book where you have a big international exposure and domestic market split into commercial vehicles and passenger vehicles, etc. You have, sometimes some bit not doing too well for you or some concern coming somewhere and the stock sort of underperforms. So which is why I'm saying that it might be nice if you don't have anything else to look at some other stocks within the space. I think the two-wheelers have corrected a lot, so perhaps you could look at a TVS Motor or a Bajaj Auto if you don't have any exposure to...
Hero Motor?
I prefer the other two to Hero Motors, but yes, nothing to complain about there either. Or perhaps I think, look at a Mahindra and Mahindra. I think, that's not moved up. That has a potential to move up another 10-15% from its current price. So I think I'm not averse to averaging DVR, but as I said, I would prefer this as a strategy. Okay.
All right, we've got an interesting stock here which has been pointed out. It's Agarwala. It's a company that's listed on the BSE. We've got an investor, Karthik Mahadevan. Agarwala, not CRISIL. CRISIL is the ratings agency. This is ACRYSIL, which is a BSE stock, and Bloomberg tells me it's actually a company that manufactures composite quartz granite kitchen sinks. So we've got a question from Karthik Mahadevan on Facebook. He's saying that he's bought 500 shares at a rate of 440. The stock is currently at 565, up about 8% in trade. He's asking for a technical view. He's got a substantially long-term horizon. He says 5 years. I'm guessing you don't have a view here, Sharmila, so I'm going to go straight to the technical one, because I honestly haven't heard of the stock.
Yes.
So this is the first time we even have heard of the stock, and this is the first time looking at the chart. So
but it's done well.
Yeah, it's done well, and from what I look at the chart, the daily price movements are huge. Volumes are extremely thin. So as far as today's volume are concerned, 12,000 shares have been traded when the stock is up 8%. And otherwise about 1,000 shares to about 500 shares are traded. So it's a very thinly traded stock. Daily price movements are huge. So from 460 to 490, these are the type of price movements that it does on a daily basis. So for me, technically, it's not a stock you want to stay invested into. Probably if he's making money, I would advise him to get out of the stock as far as technicals are concerned, because I don't want to stay invested in a stock where volumes are extremely thin and the daily price movements are so large.
Wow, 20% in the last 7 days or so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, CRISIL. Aditya, just a request. I'm going to cover 2-3 queries here, so just quickly give me a technical view. On Aurobindo Pharma, if somebody is holding 600 call, he just wants a view for the next 20 days. What's the direction that you foresee for Aurobindo?
Hold on to the stock. Looks very good.
And can one look at Federal Bank for short term right now?
Yes, definitely. So I was looking at the chart today morning itself, and it's looking extremely attractive. I expect the stock to test levels of 102 to about 106 in the short term.
I've asked Tata Motors DVR from Sharmila, but somebody is holding Tata Motors at 300. What to do? Average or no?
No, I wouldn't advise averages. I think stock will head further lower. So there's more correction left in both Tata Motor and Tata Motor DVR. So I would wait for the stock to actually consolidate post correction and then look at buying. Okay. I don't honestly recommend averaging at a loss, significant loss.
We don't get a lot of questions on mail, but we do get a couple off and on. This one, in fact, is from Jitendra Kumar. He wants to invest 1 lakh rupees in 3M India, and he wants to know whether he should enter the stock at current levels or wait for a correction. His time horizon is 3 to 4 years. Let's pull up the stock and see where it's currently trading. 3M India at 23,700, just about unchanged in trade today. Sharmila, what's the view here?
Well, really speaking, I haven't looked at the valuations of the company, but per se, I'm a fan of the stock. Yeah. Because I think that if you have a company that's looking at like innovative products and is going about it the right way, then it is 3M as a group and 3M India.
But this particular stock, when people entered at the early levels and made so much money on it, it's reached levels that are very high. Is it sensible to enter at the current
So
time?
since he has a 3-year horizon, why not? Okay. Because I don't think that you can ever say that they may hit the next big product, and they have a lot of products now in their line which are doing well. So if you have that kind of a long-term horizon, why not?
I don't know if you enter the kitchen, but have you heard of the brand Scotch Brite?
Yes, of course.
That's by 3M India. And let me tell you, one of our viewers told us a long time back, Neeraj and I were discussing this stock, so he educated us.
Speaking of which, I need to get a new one anyway.
Okay, let's move on and take some more queries. We're getting queries on Reliance. Remember, the results come out today evening, so somebody wants a fundamental view who's bought at around levels of 980 and still sitting on the stock. And Ujjwal on YouTube is mentioning, like, can he make a fresh entry now at current level? So first, a very fundamental view, what sort of earnings expectation, Sharmila, you have? Somebody is holding with good amount of profit now, should be still sitting with that stock in the portfolio? It's time to book profits.
Well, if you're a long-term investor, certainly. And I think that the key thing to watch in the numbers, I mean, I'm not expecting an inline kind of a performance. I'm not really expecting any shocks there. But I think the thing that is to be tracked and what should be heard with interest is the commentary on Jio and their retail business. Because, honestly, I think even in the AGM, the way these businesses were projected and, talked up literally is what has taken the stock to this new high. Because, the kind of plans that they have, or the kind of growth that they see in these sectors, or what has already been delivered, for instance, on the retail front. So I think those are clearly the businesses to watch, and I would wait to hear the commentary on that.
Aditya, fresh entry, would you recommend ahead of earnings?
Yes, definitely. So as far as technicals are concerned, I would still buy the stock. I'm looking at a target of 1160.
All right, I want to add just another question, because Jaydev Barani has a question on TCS and Reliance. We've just answered your question on Reliance, but TCS, would you recommend a fresh entry at this point? You said that you prefer the large cap IT names.
So between TCS and Infosys is probably cheaper at this point in time. But yes, if you look at it from a numbers perspective, I like the numbers of TCS a little better.
Okay.
So again, I think for me, probably TCS is the better stock, but you need to have a reasonably longer term horizon because of the valuations, precisely.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
All right, Fortis Healthcare, rather, I think that's the next query on. Dipanshu Bhatia writes to us, he's holding 500 shares at 150. Aditya, what would you recommend?
So last time also I'd spoken, stock is in a tight band. On the upside, 174 is the resistance. On the downside, 120, 125 is the support zone. Stock continues to oscillate between that zone. So right now it's in the middle of that zone. Keep a stop at 125, hold on for a target of 160 and exit at 160. It's not a stock that you want to hold on for long.
All right, Rekha Dotre on YouTube is asking for a long-term view on sugar stock. She's holding Dhampur at 31 and Dwarikesh Sugar at 130. Let's pull up. So Dhampur, she's making a little money on, and let's pull up Dwarikesh as well. Dwarikesh, she's lost a significant amount of money. In fact, she invested at 130 levels. The stock is currently trading at 16. It's really volatile, right? We've spoken about the sugar space. It's not a long-term bet for you. Would you say that? She's got a long-term horizon. She's asking if it's a value bet.
Well, I think the cycle is on the sort of the downward bend, because sugar clearly follows those 6-7 year cycles, and now we are seeing that correction coming in where you have good production and there's pressure on prices, etc. Then there was talk of the cess being increased for farmers, etc. So news flow has not been that good. Prices seem to be under some kind of pressure. But when you say long term, I don't really know what is the horizon, because then that means you are expecting.
You don't know when to predict the next cycle.
Yeah, the next turn in the cycle. So I think that's the worry for me. But other than that, to immediately buy, I wouldn't recommend sugar as a space.
Okay, it's a volatile space. Remember, even if you see the stocks going up, the rally fizzles out the very next day. The next query is in Maruti. Pull that one. Numbers came in yesterday. Dipanshu is holding 200 shares at 6,600. Dipanshu, let me congratulate you. That's a very, very good entry point. But he wants to know what to do with this one. Well, if you're looking to party this weekend, I'll say sell it. But let me go across to Sharmila and find out. He's sitting on good amount of money. It's Maruti. It's become such a big quality stock in the auto pack. What would you recommend? Because this year has been all about the quality stocks.
Earlier when we were talking of Tata Motors, this is what I was thinking of in the back of my mind, that post numbers where you did see some little disappointment because what we are also seeing play out in this earnings season, as I'm sure both of you will concur, is that where there is disappointment in terms of expectations, you're seeing the stocks getting corrected out of hand. So fortunately, because I think Maruti is such a well-liked stock, you haven't seen that happen, but because of the disappointment, you've seen some amount of profit booking correction take place on the stock. That said, I think this is always going to be the sort of going to trade at a premium to the rest of the stocks in the sector. So I would continue to hold.
All right, very quickly, let's get Jamna Auto for the short term. Would you recommend a fresh entry into the stock at current levels? Let's put it up. 82 currently, or 83 on the exchange right now.
No, I'll wait for a correction to levels of 70 and then enter Jamna Auto. Right now it's entered into that corrective mode and the correction will continue till 70.
Okay.
Okay, that's Jamna Auto. I'm just going to quickly squeeze in Hindalco and Idea since the news is out now. Sharmila, are they good stocks to hold in the portfolio?
Yes, I think so, because both can benefit Hindalco acquisition, the price it was done at markets like that. So big thumbs up. Idea, I mean, in the argument is that you will get the Vodafone valuation in. Yeah. I'm not positive on telecom as a space, but yes, maybe for Idea it could mean better things.
Okay, on that note, we're running out of time. I would like to thank all our viewers who've tuned in today and written their queries to us. Have a good weekend, all of you. And I also want to thank Sharmila and Aditya for coming to our studios and addressing all our viewer queries. Well, that's all that we have on this edition of Our Speak Here today.
And I'm going to add my own wishes for your weekend. Do have a good one. We'll be back on Monday with the same show at the same time. So keep your queries ready and come in. You can send them in to us on the options available on the screen. For the ones that were discussed on today's program, you can log on to the website bloombergquint.com and search for the hashtag AskPQ. Some of those queries were really interesting. I learned about Scotch Brite today. But anyway, up next on Bloomberg Quint is Power Lunch.